Okay, so one of the most popular videos that I've put out so far was a video titled Why Men Will Always Dominate Chess. It has more views than average, and it's not a particularly good video, I think. It's just popular because of the title. It's a controversial title. So I'm going to just kind of remake it right now, hopefully in a less... Hopefully this one turns out better. We'll see. So today's January 23rd, 2022. And I still believe chess will always be dominated by men. That will always be true. It always has been true, and it always will be true. And I want to make it really clear why this is the case, why this is actually true. It's not just something I believe. I mean, it is, but it's something that's backed up by, well, a pretty simple understanding of reality that I think that most people have not accepted. And, well, it's because it's kind of a hard thing to accept, right? It's not something people want to accept. It's not something liberals want to accept. It's not something women want to accept. It's not something even most men want to accept, I think, because there's a desire for equality, a desire for fairness. So some people look at the top 10 of chess and they see that it's all men, and they think that they think that's an indicator of something wrong. And what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not right or wrong. It's just what it is. It's just is. There's no should. I'm not saying it should be this way or that I want it to be this way. I'm saying that it is this way and it will continue to be this way. And the desire to change this is misplaced. That's what I think. And I'm not just talking about chess. That's the problem. I'm talking about everything. When you look at any competitive hierarchy, it's going to be male dominated. And, you know, I already know what comes up in people's heads when I say that. What do I mean by competitive? What do I mean by hierarchy? There's clearly some hierarchies that are female dominated. Clearly, women can be competitive. Clearly, women compete with each other. Women compete with men. Okay? That's all true. Nobody is saying things that are new to me here. It's not like I've lived 28 years on this planet and never run into a competitive woman. You know? It's not like I have not seen the same things that everybody else has seen. The difference between me and everybody else, other than the fact that I'm willing to say controversial things on the internet, is that I read Darwin's book, the one that came out in 1850-something. I understand that males and females are different. You know, I have an evolutionary understanding of reality. I'm an animal. I'm an animal. My hand, my body, my face, my brain, my genetics, all of it designed by evolution. I'm an animal. And, well, it's funny how we can look at other animals and see that there's clearly behavioral differences between males and females, and we don't call that socially constructed, but we look at the difference in behavior today between human animals, human males and human females, and we say that's socially constructed. And we sort of just pretend like Darwin never wrote that book, strangely. It's a strange position to take. And I think it's because, well, there's a desire for fairness, a desire for equality. It's understandable. I get it. We want everybody to be equal, or to have equal opportunity, equal access. We want fairness of some sort. And so, problem is, well, I mean, look at, just seriously, like, you have to look at any one-on-one competitive hierarchy that has ever formed, ever, from the beginning of time till now. One-on-one competitive hierarchy. I'm not talking about competition like competing for a job. I'm talking about competition. Well, see, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. The word competition is a tough one. Maybe I should just stop using that word. Because, I mean, what is the limit of that word? Competition. I've competed for your attention and I have it right now. So is that competitive? Am I being competitive by making this video? Am I competing on the it's just, you have to ask, why is chess male dominated? Why? And the answer, truthfully, is, the best answer comes from Darwin's story. That's the best answer. The best answer is that is that humans are animals, and the males and females of a species have different characteristics. And this is determined by an evolutionary process. That's the best answer we have. There are other ways to answer the problem. So if you have a question, if you're presented with a question, why is chess male dominated? There are different pairs of glasses you can put on to answer this question. There's different perspectives you can take, different places to stand. One of the places is where Darwin would stand, right? It's the evolutionary understanding. That's one of the places. There's other places you can stand. You could ignore Darwin's answer here and stand in other places and come up with a solution, an answer that seems reasonable, but none of them are as reasonable as the evolutionary understanding of humanity. And it really is a question of understanding humanity. Why are we doing what we do? Why are we what we are? And the best answer is we are animals. We share a common ancestry with chimpanzees most recently, and we share common ancestry with all animals and all living things. The way that I metabolize sugar is pretty damn similar to how this tree does it, right? There's more continuity between us and animals than non-continuity. That's the rule. Like, we have more in common than we don't. It is, I think, because I've been thinking about this quite a bit. This is a thing I think about a lot, this whole issue, because I think about feminism a little bit too much, because I think that it has been it's been twisted up into some anti-liberal ideas. But I think what happens is human arrogance takes over. I think that in the same way that Copernicus and Galileo got in trouble for their stances, they were in trouble because they were making arguments that were non-human centric. Like the whole heliocentrism versus geocentrism argument, to me, is the same. It's the same battleground as the why are we behaving the way we're behaving currently argument. A lot of people seem to think that humans behave the way humans behave because we're humans. But that's not true. Humans behave the way we behave because we're animals. That's more of a correct answer than we are human. We are more, and this is obviously, it's tough to talk about, right? Because we're getting into conversations about consciousness and free will, and, if I'm just an animal, then all my behaviors are just determined by biology, blah, blah, blah. What does it mean that I do things that an animal doesn't do, like play chess or, watch movies or something? Right? But it's also, I think, part of the reason people don't want to think about this stuff is because we don't want to compare ourselves to animals. We don't want to think about ourselves as animals, as monkeys, as chimpanzees, or, we don't want to think that we are those things. But the way I see it is we are barely not those things. We are hardly not chimpanzees. We have woken up and started talking. Right? We have something different about us, obviously. Something special, some sort of spark, some sort of divine thing inside of us that makes us capable of understanding and speaking, and, something is there. But that something, you have to think about it in the same way. I mean, humans used to think that we were the center of the universe. We used to think that the spot where we were standing was just the center of all reality, right? It's almost an unavoidable consequence of just being alive. It's like part of this nature of just being a conscious being is just thinking, yeah, this must be it, because by definition, you're stuck inside you. You are the center of your universe. You can't not be you, right? So that's why we get stuck on thinking the earth is the center of the universe. That's why we get stuck on thinking humans are special. Humans are not special. We really are not special at all. There's billions of types of things that live on this planet, and we're just one of them. We're not more evolved, we're not more advanced. This idea that we're like the top of some chain is just not true. We're really not. And so this is the problem. This is why we have people who think that men and women should have equal representation in the top of chess. It's because we seem to be disconnecting ourselves from nature. You wouldn't look at a pack of lions and say, hey, there needs to be equal representation in the head of the pack between males and females. Or like, you wouldn't, I mean, that's a stupid example, but you know what I'm saying here, right? Like, you wouldn't look at animals and expect the males and females to behave the same way. You would never do that. You wouldn't try to force that on them. It would make you a crazy person, right? If there was somebody, if there's somebody out there who had a bunch of cats, imagine some crazy cat feminist lady who is forcing the males and female cats to just do the same exact thing somehow. Sees that they are behaving differently and says, no, this is socially constructed, we need to change this, right? Like, that's fucking insane. And yet, we have people saying exactly the same thing about human beings today. Which is wild. It's wild. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's simply wrong. And it's based off of the same line of thinking that geocentrists base their line of thinking off. So, we're not a whole lot smarter today than we were 500 years ago, or 1,000 or 10,000 years ago. We are the same species. We're equally as smart right now, on average, as we were back then, right? And arguably our IQ, I don't want to talk about IQ, but what I'm trying to say is that the reason our society is set up the way it's set up is probably for biological reasons. And this is where you get stuck in that, the critique of a conservative argument here would be, well, you're just saying that we should keep things the way they are because that's, you're using a biological argument to maintain some sort of system. And it's not at all what I'm doing. I'm just saying that it is what it is because of a biological thing. I'm not saying any shoulds. There's not a single should in what I'm saying. I don't think we should maintain male representation in chess. I never said that even a little bit. I just think that, there's a good understanding of the world and a bad understanding. And I think that if you believe there should be a 50-50 representation in the top 10 of chess, you have a bad understanding of the world. That's just what I think. And I wouldn't vote for you or put you in power or let you make decisions about society at large. That'd be the same thing as putting a geocentrist at the head of NASA or something, right? It's not what I would support. That's my problem. I follow the science, Like, I believe that humans are animals. I believe Darwin was right. That's my problem, is I think that a lot of people who think they follow the science don't follow the science. You know what I mean? And the real problem here is that and the reason that this is so contentious is that it's not just chess, is it? The reason that society is male dominated, the reason that the patriarchy exists, is for the same reasons. And this is, again, where the feminists dig their heels in. This is where people get upset, and then we got to start talking about patriarchy, this goddamn word, patriarchy. What does patriarchy mean? What is patriarchy? And that's where the argument blows up. Because, again, chess is male dominated for a reason. Maybe the patriarchy exists for a reason. Maybe there is what is, and I'm not saying what should, but when you are saying what should, when feminists, when people who think that society is unfair towards women are saying what should, you have to make sure they understand what is first. Before anybody gets to apply any rules or gets to say any shoulds, they should be able to accurately describe what is. And if they cannot accurately describe what is, they don't get to decide what should. That's kind of how I see it. And a lot of feminists don't know what is. They don't. They think they have some story for what the patriarchy is, that somehow, human race was egalitarian until we learned how to do agriculture, and suddenly a system was created either on purpose or by accident by men that puts men in positions of power and values the skills of men over others. The innate behaviors of males is valued higher than the innate behavior of females, which is true. I mean, an engineer gets paid more than a mom, right? Raising children is not profitable to the GDP. but making Facebook is. So that's that's true. That's what is, right? If you can figure out a way to make being a mom more valuable, then go for it. I mean, arguably, being a mom, a good mom, is probably the most important role that a person can even play. Arguably. I mean, how else do you get good people without good moms? So, anyway, that's a whole... It's a whole nother line of thinking right there. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about this again because I realized looking back, my video titled "Why Men Will Dominate Chess, Always Dominate Chess" was very popular, and I got a lot of critique. You know, it's funny because women still watch the channel, so I know that there's some women that watch the video and they agree with me. So it's not like this is not a complaint about women; it's more of a complaint about feminists and liberals who don't understand science. Really, I mean, it's so funny that follow the science has become a blue team talking point. And it seems so. It seems like they're not doing that. They're not following the science. So anyway, yeah, I'm done. I'll see you later. Bye.